Welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the show. It is great to be here, and I'm super excited for today's topic because it really is bridging the gap as to what longevity and anti-aging will look like as we're moving into the next 3 to 5 years or so, and how there's a possibility we'll be able to actually rewind aging and reverse many diseases of the body. So one of the reasons why I am excited about this particular episode, and I'm going to link up all the research here today, I'm going to make it real world so that you can actually use this. And it'll be at stephencabral.com/2174. stephencabral.com/2174. All previous podcasts can be found at stephencabral.com/podcast. Okay. So here's the thing. We'll talk about a high-fat diet. We'll talk about some particular pros, some particular cons, and just issues in general around it. But I also want to share with you how there is a longevity-based nutrient that has been known about now for decades and is finally getting a lot more press. One of the reasons why it's getting more press is that it's actually easier now to get more of it in a condensed form so that we can actually begin to reverse the aging-based process. So that nutrient is called resveratrol. Hold on for a moment. Hold that word. And we're going to get into it right now because we know that for most people, a high-fat diet is extremely detrimental to their health. Now, there's a lot of people out there promoting keto, a lot of people out there promoting low carb. Okay, so if you're not even promoting keto, but you're promoting low carb, then you have no choice but to either increase protein. We know there can be detrimental effects of that. Once you go above 20% of your macronutrient profile, it increases mTOR, it increases IGF-1. We know that can lead to greater chances of cancer. I'm not saying it's going to, but there's potential for it. Okay, do I ever increase protein above 25% with some people? Sure, I do. It depends on age. It depends on whether they're exercising a lot, how much muscle tissue breakdown it is. But you have to understand is some people take words that I say or other people say out of context, right? Everything's nuanced. But we're talking about the average person, the average American. Less than, I think it's 8% of the population actually exercises, okay? So we're not talking about like, and that's generous, by the way. That's a generous number, okay? When 70% of people are overweight, and over now 35% of children are overweight, and about 40% of adults are obese, and now it's somewhere around 18 to 25%. Nobody knows exactly if children are obese. We have to understand is that the average person in population, those are the people that need our help. So if you're a practitioner listening to this, they need our help. We have to start talking to the majority of people. When I talk about BMI, people lose their minds because they're in the 1% of the population that exercises, they have more muscle on their body, they're in shape, and they just can't handle being a 25.5 or a 26. Listen, I'm at the top end of the BMI. I totally understand. I get it. I'm not coming down on you. Remember, as practitioners in the health and fitness field, we need to work with the 99% of the population that should be at a good, healthy weight for their body. But again, I'm not going to turn that into the show. So let me take a step back. The majority of people don't really know what healthy fats are versus just being on a high-fat diet, right? They just know, oh, well, if I go low carb and I just eat vegetables or don't eat any starches and don't eat any fruit, I'm automatically on a low carb diet. We have to understand that is very dangerous, right? Because we're not telling people that hey, eat some more avocados, have some olives, have some olive oil that's organic, cold pressed, right? That hasn't been heated and it's in a dark bottle. We're not saying all of those things. So what do they read? Like, oh, I can just eat all the fat and meat that I want. That is very detrimental. I did a podcast actually that was all science-backed, showing that carbohydrates do not cause diabetes, okay? They just don't, right? Carbs don't cause diabetes. We haven't seen this anywhere in nature. We don't see it in humans. I shared with you the data on people on high-carb diets not having diabetes. Now, you combine highly oxidized fats and oils with carbohydrates, that's a recipe for disaster. But I'm going to take you into the research. It is because, and I've been saying this forever, and finally a lot of experts out there, and I'm putting that in air quotes, are catching on that you have to be careful because a super high fat diet in 26% of the population is going to cause massive inflammation. Okay, I've talked about that before. ApoE genotypes, the allele is a 4-4. Okay, but you say that's only 26% of the population. I say I agree. But in other people, when you have a high fat diet, you are, I'm just going to give this at a base level, you are essentially clogging up the insulin receptors on the outside of cells. You are creating more sterols in that cell membrane. And that does not allow for oxygen or glucose to very easily penetrate that bilipid membrane. So bilipid membrane, think of it as the outside of every cell. If you're watching this on video, I'm just holding my hands up in a circle, okay? And the membrane are basically my fingers going around. Inside of this membrane, to allow things into each cell, is soft fats and hard fats. The more saturated, the more, well, I shouldn't say polyunsaturated are actually the weakest, the lightest. However, here's what happens. Those polyunsaturated fats can be very easily oxidized. Now, that's not when they're eaten with nuts and things like that. We've actually seen positive benefits there. So why do polyunsaturated fats get a bad rap? Because when they are oxidized, when they are cooked with, when they are put into processed foods, they cause massive free radical damage. They're called reactive oxygen species, ROS. Okay, you don't need to know what that means, but it creates aging in your body. Reactive oxygen species create inflammation. Inflammation creates inflammaging. Your body ages at a faster rate. So I want to share with you the research right now that I think will make a whole lot of sense and may make you question your high-fat diet. Now, again, people then always say, well, I eat grass-fed beef and I eat pastured chicken and pastured eggs and I eat wild salmon and sardines and I have my own farm in my backyard. I get it. Again, we're talking about the 1%. Do you think that the average person walking around is buying all grass-fed beef and organ meat and they're eating kangaroo and elk and all these things? They're not. I mean, this is outlandish speak that we talk about to really refer to like the 1% of the people that are, trying to do everything right? That's just not the case. And even some of those people though, they're really overdoing it by throwing in a big thing of lard with bacon grease, with eggs. You have to be careful with that. 20s and 30s years old. Okay, I understand. You start doing that for a decade of your life, I would be careful playing that game of roulette. The body always works on balance. And so just be careful. We're not talking about body transformation. We're not talking about the outside. We're talking about the inside, right? You can easily transform your body with a high-fat, high-protein diet and get very lean and muscular, no doubt about it. But we're not talking about that today. We're talking about aging and longevity. And if you want to bet your life, which you're literally doing, on that super high-fat diet, I would be careful with that. I would continue to run all of your biomarkers, and that does not just include blood work. But again, I digress. So I'm going to share with you the research, and then I'm going to link up multiple studies, okay? Because I had to go deep on this research because the research is very dense, very dense. So I had to look up what type of diets these rats and mice were on and all of that. So here we go. But again, keep in mind when we say, oh, it's just a mouse study, it's just a rat study, keep in mind they put human DNA into these mice. That's how they're bred. And so instead of having an experiment on humans, we can do it in this way, and we can at least gather some good data, because you wouldn't want to put humans through much of what the lab research is done with lab rats. Again, whether you agree with it or testing lab rats or not, that's not today's discussion. Anyway, I digress. Okay. So we're looking at the diet that these mice were put on for 8 weeks. Okay. And even in just 8 weeks, the insulin secretion ability of the rats was greatly decreased. So that means that these mice were not able to produce the same amount of insulin. They were not as sensitive to the insulin, and it was because of the high-fat diet they were on. Now, I'll share with you the fat in just a moment, because again, I can already hear in the background, what type of fat was it? And I agree. Again, we're getting there in just 1 second. All right, so there was two groups. There was the normal chow feed, they call it, for rats, and that was, let me get you that data for what that was exactly. For the normal feed. Well, I have the high fat feed right in front of me. So it was 59% fat, 20% carbs for the high fat feed. And that's 60, 80. So then we're assuming 21% protein, right? Because that's how the math works out. So just think of it as 60, 20, 20. Okay. 60% fat, 20% carbs, 20% protein. Probably not wildly different from a lot of people's low carb diet. And again, putting that in air quotes. And then the normal chow feed, I will be able to find it for you. Let's see if I can just gather it right now. If not, I'll link up the article. But it's basically like 60% carbs and then 20-20. Oh, there it is right there. All right. So the normal chow feed was 13.68% fat, 64% carbs, and about 21% protein. So the protein remained roughly the same. They took the fat and they basically added all to the carbohydrates, and that's how they got that number. So high-fat diet, 59%, 20% carbs, 20% protein. And what they found was that it created insulin resistance, which is, again, detrimental for what? Well, it's extremely detrimental for trying to prevent cancer. Okay, extremely detrimental for cholesterol reasons, blood pressure reasons, triglyceride reasons, stroke, type 2 diabetes. Okay, so when we're looking at that, we're saying, wow, those are all the top causes of mortality. And a high-fat diet, this high-fat diet was leading to that. So again, that's why I just ask you, be careful what diet plans you are following if they are not set up properly. Now, for all of the people in the back, I totally get it. What type of fat was it? So I had to go deep on this because it didn't state it on PubMed. So I went into the original research and I found that the high-fat diet was coming from mainly polyunsaturated fats. And I agree, polyunsaturated fats, when oxidized, are the most dangerous types of fats out there. Non-oxidized can actually be beneficial for the body. That's why I come at it from an unbiased perspective. Now, do I think you should load up on polyunsaturated fats? No. Do I think polyunsaturated fats from fish and nuts in their whole form are bad? No. Do I think if you take a triglyceride-bound, cold processed and pressed fish oil or oil that has not been heated is bad? No, because I can show you all of the data that shows that that's okay. Now, the moment you turn that into, I can't believe it's not butter or processed crackers or chips or anything like that, well, it's highly oxidized and that is extremely detrimental to the body. So here's the good news though, because this is a normal low carb diet for most people. Again, let's not pretend that people are eating, again, pastured chicken and wild fish every night with theirs. Now, some people are, but again, part of that 1%. For the average person, they're just saying, well, I can eat all the fat I want, and basically that means meat for them, and I feel great. Well, again, you feel great for a while, and externally the body begins to lose weight. So you say, hey, it's all working. Be careful, all right? But I want to show you that even if that is what people are doing, it's amazing. It's amazing how much the human body can really withstand. But we're now showing, and it's amazing that they even use this nutrient. I don't know how they got it paid for. I have no idea how they got a nutritional supplement paid for this, but they used resveratrol. Resveratrol, people say, oh, it's found in red wine. Sure, it is. This is largely corroborated that it would take 100 to 200 glasses of wine for an actual dosage of resveratrol that's going to make a difference. Okay. So we can kind of pull back on the red wine. I drink red wine. People saying I drink red wine because that has resveratrol. No, you drink red wine because you enjoy red wine. That's why you're drinking it. We're not doing this for overall health reasons. Okay. Maybe it helps you relax. Maybe that leads to some vasodilation. Again, I'm not talking about that here today. Okay. But what I can share with you is that somehow someone got this study published and actually paid for, because you have to do this, to see if resveratrol may help with insulin levels. And I thought this was remarkable. And they even state in the study, and I'm going to see if I can find the exact line for you, because I was blown away when they actually here it is. Resveratrol RSV, which is stated in the study for short, is a natural compound found in grape skins. Results of many studies have provided evidence for its beneficial effects, including anti-cancer, antioxidant, cardioprotective, that means good for the heart, and overall lifespan and anti-aging, so lifespan. Okay, so there is also growing evidence that resveratrol improves insulin sensitivity in type 2 diabetic animals or patients. In this study, Brasnio, I apologize if that's not how you pronounce that person's name, reported that patients who were treated with oral resveratrol twice daily, containing 5 milligrams of resveratrol for 4 weeks, have significantly improved insulin resistance with increased AKT, which is a ratio inside of the platelets. So pretty amazing. Again, I'm amazing that they even got this published. The second, in this particular study, this is high dose, okay? So they showed benefits in just, it's 5 milligrams twice a day. It's 10 milligrams. It's unbelievable because that's not a big dose. It's a small dose. In this study, they were using straight resveratrol. I want to show you how you can, I hate the word hack, but how you can hack this a bit. So they used 100 milligrams per kilogram of body weight for this particular study. They actually did double that as well. And they both showed clinically verifiable positive data on that. So that's a big dose. Now, when you're looking though at resveratrol, you can find products that say resveratrol, or you can find it where it says trans resveratrol. Trans resveratrol is the best form we have right now in order to be able to use a lower dosage with better absorbability. The issue that resveratrol was kind of forgotten about a decade, I remember like 15 years ago being popular, but they just couldn't get it to work because they couldn't get it in an absorbable form. Well, like many things, such as, curcumin, think about it, turmeric. Turmeric, we knew that it would work in a petri dish or in vitro. We know that it would work. The problem was you just couldn't get it to absorb in the human body. Then came bioperine, right? Bioperine, black pepper. And again, they knew this in Ayurveda. They always mixed it with black pepper. That helped to absorb. Okay, so that's interesting. But then they were able to extract curcumin. Oh, okay. So now we have curcuminoids from turmeric, and now we need much less. So we get a much better clinical result. Well, the same thing happened with resveratrol. They were able to get a more absorbable form called trans resveratrol. I'm willing to bet you in 5 years from now, there's an even more absorbable form. But for right now, we have trans resveratrol, and that's pretty fantastic. So what I wanted to bring you is that there were two parts to this podcast. One, I just want you to be careful on a high-fat diet for a long period of time. If you do it for 3 weeks to maybe 6 weeks as you're lowering your carbs for a bit of time and you are helping with weight loss and regulating blood sugar, okay, I understand it, but then we can ease them back in. Because as we've seen, a lot of these people on high-fat diets can never eat carbs again. And they're like, well, I just can't eat carbs because it spikes my blood sugar. Yeah, it does that because you are destroying your insulin sensitivity. And again, I can't say that any other way, and I don't want to mix any words with you. You're not helping the problem. You're just putting a Band-Aid on it because you're saying, oh, I can't eat carbs, so I'm not going to eat carbs. And then you're making the situation even worse. Figure out why you have such poor insulin sensitivity, fix that, rebalance the body, be able to eat carbohydrates again. I mean, that's the bottom line. Fix the gut, fix the cortisol levels, rebalance the thyroid. You'll be able to get there. I mean, that's what I want to share with people, that these things can be fixed. Be careful with the Band-Aid based approach. Now, if you're eating a high-fat diet for an extended period of time, do go for the pastured-based pastured-based chicken and eggs, the grass-fed beef, because they're going to be higher in omega-3s, less in the omega-6s, less in the polys. The wild fish, I talked about that, but really we're talking about high fat. That's more protein. There's certainly fat in that, but they're going to be less because they are more natural. So you really want to stick to more avocados, olive oil that isn't heated, or again, I don't want to get into the olive oil right now, and then some nuts, and you're going to be able to get good quality fats there. All right, so I just wanted to share that part with you. And now, at the same time, let's say you are having blood sugar levels. I have to now state that I'm not providing any medical advice, right? No medical diagnosis, cures, or treatment of disease. But what I want to share with you is that if you're dealing with potentially family history of cancer, cardiovascular issues, blood sugar issues, etc., you may want to look into a good trans resveratrol based product. It might be something that would interest you because there is just such great research around it. So just wanted to share that with you here today. Would love to take any comments you have, any feedback. And like I said, I'm always happy to help. And I just want you to know that I will give you, till the day I die, an unbiased version of nutrition, exercise, disease, and all the different states in the body, so that we can all be on this journey together. We can all learn this journey together. And as better and better research comes out, well, we'll say, what did Ayurvedic medicine say? And all the different forms of natural-based health. What are they saying in the scientific research? Okay, how do these look together? And what is the best choice for us? So hopefully that was helpful. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in today. Please do feel free to share this show with anyone you believe it could help. Thank you so much for tuning into today's show. And hopefully you heard all last week about our brand new Iboan-based membership. This is not just another membership. This is not just another online-based program. This is a program that is built around you and our global health community. It is the program that I've been looking to create for the past 5 years, and finally, we've been able to do it in partnership with Equalife. This means that we are going to truly help you figure out your underlying root cause imbalances. If you're already well, great. We're going to show you how to optimize your body. And if you're not feeling well, or you're gaining more weight than you like, or you're aging at a much faster rate, we're going to help you with that as well. Here's what we're going to do. Every 90 days, we are going to ship you out a brand new lab test, and that lab test is going to come with a 30-minute coaching consultation. This means you're not only going to get the lab test, you're going to get the results, you're going to get the coaching call, and you're also going to get a customized plan. I mean, it can't get any better than that. And it's not just about the lab testing, which shares with you these underlying root causes, but we're also going to provide you with master classes every single month. This means that we're going to be doing workshops. So these are real workshops with experts in their field. I have many amazing colleagues that I want to introduce you to. We're talking about celebrity chefs, teaching you the best recipes, showing them creating these recipes. We're going to be working with mental health based therapists. We're going to be working with the best exercise professionals out there. We're going to be talking about people that create the binaural beats, people that do the absolute best breath work based programs out there, hot and cold based therapy. And again, this is going to be interactive. We're going to be doing this live on video, and then we're also going to be taking our community's questions, Q&A at the end. This is exclusive to our new Iboan-based members. Absolutely phenomenal. Again, I have so much more that I want to share with you, but I'm going to keep it at that for today. I'm going to send you over to the membership page because, again, I could go on, and I have a video explaining that there, but I want you to know all of this is going to culminate in April when we release our brand new app. Again, this is members only, charter members only for these first 90 days of anyone that is joining before that is going to get access to this app. And this app is going to be next level, providing you with exercise, nutrition, all your lab results, everything stored in one place. We can also create your ideal day. In your ideal week, you and your coach will be able to work together. So if you're currently working with an integrative health practitioner, you'll be able to work with your integrative health practitioner. If you're working with someone on our team, you can work with our team. This is the future of healthcare. It really is. This is where we're going to be taking people where they learn that they're able to take control of their own health. I want to share with you all the details. So if you want to head on over right now to equa.life, you'll be able to find all of those details by clicking on that Iboan-based banner. I'll give you a direct link as well. Go to equa.life/Iboan or stephencabral.com/Iboan. But they'll all send to the same place. And Iboan is spelled Ayubowan. Iboan by Equalife. It is the future. I would love to have you as part of the community. I would love to be chatting with you too on our next workshop. Take care, everyone.